I am an African. I owe my being to the hills and the valleys, the mountains and the glades, the rivers, the deserts, the trees, the flowers, the seas, and the ever-changing seasons that define the face of our native land.
Thank you very much, Program Director, MBC, Thandi Mraka. Let me acknowledge our host, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Matho Mokhalong, the executive management team of the University of Limpopo, representatives of the University of Venda, the leadership of the Student Representative Council, represented here by the President, Speaker of our legislature, Honorable Rosemary Molapo Gunadi, Deputy Minister for Arts and Culture, Honorable Notlawe Mafu, MEC is present here, Executive Mayors, Executive Mayor for the District, Capricorn, and Executive Mayor for Polokwane, members of the Diplomatic Corps. I learned that the High Commissioner of Nigeria is here. You're welcome. There. And the High Commissioner of the Central African Republic. You're welcome, sir. Veterans of our liberation struggle. Professor Nkondo is here. I saw a number of them. Traditional leaders present here, Bamshate, Bakafukeng, Cheholo Chakamshate, Kamafatenga Matelle, Madula Patenga Mshate, Realereta, Realetamisha, Bimbarena, Balon Sefa. Rotlogariti abinyachua lotwana di atla re lahletse ka bore garage ya khoma fase. Cultural groups present here, our friends from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me start first by thanking the University of Limpopo for providing the stage for us to commemorate and celebrate this historic day on our continent's events calendar. I also wish to thank the National Department of Arts and Culture for being with us here and supporting us in this celebration. Our Provincial Department of Sports, Arts and Culture has always ensured that our celebrations of this day are conducted in a very spectacular and colorful African style. You have not disappointed, even this time. I thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here to reaffirm the message that Africa's time is now. We are here to express our life commitments, or our life commitment to the cause of Africa's renewal. We are here to say that whatever the difficulties of the day, the cause of Africa must and shall triumph. Our Africa Day celebration in this province are also always characterized by a beautiful blend of color, dance, and music in the African way. In Africa, when you are happy, when you celebrate, you hit the drums. In Africa, when you are mourning, you still hit the drums. And in Africa, for everything that is glorious, when you go and pledge or deliver your thanks or thank your ancestors, you still hit the drums. And our cultural groups today did not disappoint. All of them, when they came here, they were hitting the drums in the African way. We would want to thank you for that. And this is because this province, Limpopo, represents a fusion and melting pot of Africa's diverse cultural heritage. The evidence of this is in the cultural performers which were on display just a while ago. These performances have given us a tantalizing sneak preview of Limpopo's cultural and artistic riches. Our province is indeed an important part of Africa's cultural heritage. On this day, we also communicate a loud message, a message that however diverse our continent may be, we remain one people. We remain one people, ladies and gentlemen. From Cape to Cairo, from Madagascar to Morocco, Africa is one. And the people of Africa remains Africans and remains one. Africa remains a common heritage that we all share. Africa remains a pride that can never be taken away from us, because indeed we are Africans. The African Union Anthem calls on all of us to unite and celebrate together, to celebrate the victories won for our liberation. The anthem calls on us to dedicate ourselves to rise together in order to defend our liberty and unity. The anthem calls on us as sons and daughters of Africa to dedicate ourselves to fight together for lasting peace and justice on earth. The anthem, the African anthem, demands of us to unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa, because Africa is our pride and hope. Basically, the anthem says to us that everything for Africa and nothing against Africa. On this day, we recommit ourselves to the vision espoused in Africa Agenda 2063. We say to the children of Africa and the world that we are committed to an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa. This is the Africa driven by its own citizens, representing a dynamic force in the international arena. Our perspective of Africa is an Africa that is bigger than its geographical borders because of a vibrant and thriving diaspora. Yes, SRC President, you are right. We did not give birth to Africa. Africa gave birth to us. And it can also be said vice versa. Africa is born in us. I think I think it was Nkuruma, if I'm not mistaken, who said that. We want to see the children of Africa who are residing elsewhere in the globe continue to identify with the mother continent. Over and above this, we want to see these children of the continent playing a visible and progressive role in the growth and development of Africa. Program Director, for us as South Africans, Africa Day presents an opportunity to reconnect and recommit ourselves in support of all interventions to develop a better Africa for a better world. We celebrate this day on the 25th of each May to salute and in remembrance of the formation of the Organization of African Unity 59 years ago. This is a very significant day in the lives of Africans, those who live in the continent and those who are found in the African diaspora across the globe. On this day, we acknowledge the progress that we as Africans have made while reflecting upon the common challenges we face in a global environment. Program Director, we are in this beautiful cosmopolitan city of Polokwane, the city of stars, to celebrate the beauty and splendor of our continent. Africa Day is a living tribute to the many successes that have been recorded by both the Organization of African Unity and the African Union itself. This is also a special tribute to a chain of generations of former African leaders who spearheaded the struggle for Africa's self-determination. I speak here, ladies and gentlemen, of visionary leaders such as Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Emperor Selassie of Ethiopia, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, Angel KK, Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia, and a host of other African heroes. You can remember of Josiah Tondagara of Zimbabwe, and many other African leaders, heroes and heroines of Africa. These leaders have played a pivotal role in the efforts to end the colonization of the African continent and to promote unity and solidarity amongst African states, and coordinate and intensify cooperation amongst African countries in a quest for Africa's development. The truth of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that Africa has achieved a lot since the formation of the Organization of African Unity. However, there is still much that can be done to advance the African agenda. As Africans, we must never be dismissive of the inspiring progress that has been registered over the past 55 years. It was because of the successes of the Organization of African Unity that African leaders decided in 2002 to replace the Organization of African Union with the new organization called the African Union, AU. This is because, or it was because, the OAU had accomplished its principal mission to end the colonization of the African continent. As you all would remember, that we used to say, Africa will never be liberated for as long as the southern tip of Africa is not liberated. For as long as South Africa is not liberated, Africa will never be liberated. Our collective mission as this generation of African brothers and sisters is to grow and develop our continent. We are also here as the children of this African soil to engage each other on the route to take in order to deliver Africa to its promised land. That is the land of the rebirth of Africa. That is the Africa that is free from hunger, malnutrition, and starvation. That is the Africa that is free from ethnic conflict, tribal wars, and genocides. That is the Africa that is free from haunting diseases such as malaria, tuberculosis, HIV, and AIDS. That is the Africa that has completely eradicated illiteracy amongst its children, young and old. And that is the Africa that is free from corruption. It is for this reason that the task of African Union became naturally different from that of the Organization of African Unity. As I said earlier, the African Union was tasked, Organization of African Union was tasked to ensure an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in a global arena. This is the task that defines the new African agenda. It is an agenda of the socio-economic integration, peace, and prosperity. This new vision was summarized by former President Thabo Mbeki when he addressed the National Assembly in February of 2001. And he said, "Through our own actions, we will ensure that poverty gives way to prosperity. As we strengthen the bonds of friendship and solidarity with our fellow Africans, we have an obligation to help ensure that in our country and everywhere else in our continent, no African child should ever again walk in fear of guns, tyrants, and abuse, and that no African child should ever again experience hunger, avoidable disease, and ignorance, that no African child should ever again feel ashamed to be an African." That was President Thabo Mbeki. It is therefore, ladies and gentlemen, our duty as Africans to channel all our energies and expertise to ensure that we end hunger, we bring to an end avoidable diseases amongst our people, and that we end ignorance through quality and accessible education. This is the task that cannot be left in the hands of a few individuals who are our leaders. It is a duty for us all. Every one of us has something and must contribute something to assist in the task of rebuilding the continent of Africa. Program Director, Africa has some of the world's most strategic mineral resources, yet Africa's children remain impoverished. Africa's buries tons and tons of oil reserves, yet African children remain starving without basic foodstuffs. The time for Africa's riches to serve its children is now. For years now, some African leaders have traded African riches to foreign powers in exchange of personal wealth at the expense of African children. We know that apart from the theft of our mineral resources, more of Africa's wealth leaves the borders of the continent, or of this continent, through methods such as tax evasion and dubious tax incentives in favor of foreign businesses. What is said is that these riches are in turn used to sponsor wars and regime change against progressive African governments. This is done in order to replace the will of African masses with puppet regimes that the interests of their former colonial masters. The challenge for Africans, in particular Africa's youth, is to fight this corruption. The other challenge that faces Africa is a phenomenon called brain drain. This refers to the situation where Africa's best minds leaves this continent to serve other continents. In most instances, or in some instances, people are justified to do so because of many other things, many reactionary tendencies that I've already referred to. These are the people who are educated and trained through Africa's resources. Instead of using their acquired knowledge to serve this continent, they are attracted by other countries outside our continent. What we need to do as Africa is to do our best to limit or stop this trend. Secondly, we need to find creative ways to instill or of still working with these Africans who are outside the continent for the benefit of our continent. As African youth, you must also work hard to find scientific solutions to Africa's socio-economic challenges. A wholesale importation of foreign solutions to Africa does not work and would never work. We must find African solutions to African problems. It is therefore our responsibility as Africans to change the way the world views us. And the start is now. In this regard, we align ourselves with the policy commitment of the University of Limpopo, Vice Chancellor. When you say your policy, your legacy or your mantra is that you want to find solutions for Africa. But for you to find solutions for Africa, Vice Chancellor, you need to come up with a paradigm shift. You need to change the manner in which you are producing your academics, you are producing your graduates. You really need a paradigm shift. That old way of mass production, that old way of just producing for whatever, without coming with a coordinated and calculated analysis of the market that you are producing for, doesn't work. Hence we say, let's stop in the field of education, what you would normally refer in economics as the economies of scale, and rather refocus and change to what you would refer, in fact, that is Harvard Business School that says that we refer to as the economies of scope, as compared to the economies of scale. The economies of scope says to you, as the University of Limpopo sit down and say, or perhaps sit down with the captains of the industry and find each other as to what are the needs of this economy. And when you produce your graduates, you then produce specifically for a particular market based on the needs, your analysis of the needs of the economy, and not the needs of the job market, the needs of the entire economy. What is it that this economy needs? The economy needs scientists. The economy needs plumbers. The economy needs 1, 2, 3. And then you then say, if that is the case, how much can we produce? We are a mining province, for example. We are a mining province. How many mining graduates do you produce that will be necessary for the number of mines that we are having in the province? Do we still produce many teachers and priests? When I was still a student here, we had a school of religious studies or whatever. Next door, I think we used to call it what? Stovbeck, something like that, yeah. Is it still necessary? Yes, it's necessary to produce priests, yes. But how many do you need? How many of the rock drill operators can you be in the position to can produce as a university or an academic institution? How many of mining engineers can you be able to produce as a university? And how many does the economy need in this province? Once we can start producing our graduates in that manner, we'll never have unemployed graduates because we are not producing for mass production. We'll never have unemployed graduates for as long as we exercise the economies of scope and not the economies of scale. And in so doing, we'll be resolving the problems of Africa, because one of the biggest problems in Africa is unemployment. And you'll be producing people who are going to create jobs, not people who are going to seek for jobs. So that's what I think in your vision, in your mission of producing or resolving Africa's problems. You also need to concentrate on that. Before bang haola kreking ga ke re baruti ba ska produce. What I'm simply saying is that let's be focused. If we need about 100, are produce 1,000, are producing 100 or 200. Program director, let me say, whilst driving towards my conclusion, that as Limpopo, we are committed to make our humble contributions towards the dream of a reborn Africa. Using the words of the renowned African scholar Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who said, and I quote, "Our continent is caught in a battlefield of continuous wars, war between the forces that are pledged to confirm our humanity and those determined to dismantle it. Those who strive to build a protective wall around us, and those who wish to pull it down. Those who seek to mold it, and those committed to breaking it up. Those who aim to open our eyes, to make us see the light, and look to tomorrow, and those who wish to lull us into closing our eyes, and I close quote. It is against the above-mentioned background, ladies and gentlemen, that we put concrete expression to our resolve that we will continue working with other African countries to ensure that no African child should ever again walk in fear of guns, tyrants, and abuse. We will work to ensure that no African child should ever again experience hunger, avoidable disease, and ignorance. That no African child should ever again feel ashamed to be an African. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, let us all unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa. Let the cause of Africa prevail. God bless Africa. Morena, Boloka, Africa.